Hello, GCSE student. This is a very short video, hopefully, about tips for being the successful MFL students you always wanted to be. So, particularly oriented towards AQA 2018 specification. So, if you're not doing AQA, you can stay around, but there might be some bits that are relevant, and also particularly aimed at students who are using the Kerboodle Oxford book. So, first of all, I think what's very important is to know what the course expectations are when you're planning for your mocks, and knowing the expectations for the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So what do the paper look like? How are they organized, and what are the exam skills that are expected you to have? So you can click on those links on my website. I will put the link in the description below. Please visit that. Also, what I believe is to be important in the second advice is to close your gaps. So you need to know your possible revision strategies before the mock, and that has to be specific to you, and only you can make this. So what I usually ask students to do is to watch this short video that is on the website as well, and to make a checklist of what they believe to be of crucial importance. So basically, you make a list of all the things that you're not feeling comfortable to do in French or Spanish or German or whatever other languages you're doing. And once you've done that checklist, then you can attempt to basically number in order of priority. Number one being the most urgent, then you can classify them from urgent to non-urgent, and you start from the top and go to your way down. The key idea of this is that to make sure that you tackle the most important points first and least important last. If you're not entirely sure how to do this and how to tackle revisions in general, I suggest you click on the other link of my website and go on the page that's called Revision Tips for Language Examinations in General. And on this, you've got 2 videos done to much better standards than this one that will explain you how to plan across the board and how to make a schedule for your revisions, which is a kind of a broader plan, but it follows the same track. So this is the link that is read this page there. In terms of proven tactics to help you structure revisions, I would say do speaking questions from an exam booklet. You can click on there and so see a particular example of what some of my past students have done. This is a resource that is not mine, and I'm thanking the person who's done this. And it contains some examples of answers. Try to remember to add and make the sentence or answers complex, and also try to get your teacher to check them if you can, or if you're using an exercise book, then just ask your teacher for feedback on written stuff. Finally, I think it's very important to know how to use the tools and the resources that you have in your school. So in our school, we use Kerboodle. Kerboodle is a website that allows you to do some interactive activities that your school may subscribe to. If you haven't got it, only your school can buy it. If you are a teacher and you not got it, I quite like the fact that you can do some interactive activities, but also do some past papers. If you go in the section about practice papers, then you can do practice papers in the style of GCSE exams. And finally, there are also some key aspects such as vocab builders. Vocab builders are very useful to revise the vocabulary of each modules that you've covered during the year in your theme 1, 2, and 3 sections, and you can do lots of stuff with that. So knowing your resources and what you can do is very important. The last thing I also think is absolutely crucial and important is for you to not only doing past papers, as we've said, knowing the skills is important, but also practicing doing the type of exams. And one of the great things with Kerboodle is that you can also have some tasks that are recorded, and those recorded tasks are really useful in terms of, for example, for the speaking assessment, that you can have some photo cards and practice the questions so you can tell if you're confident or not, and say, do the question, listen to the example that is here, record your own, submit it to your teacher. So if you've got access to Google, this is a great thing to do, but your teacher must have activated that. So request to them to activate this feature. It's great, and they can give you some feedback live. You can record and submit answers. If you're a teacher and you'd like to know more about this, leave a comment below. I can show you what the benefits of that are. Finally, also, there are some great resources out there on Quizlet. This is for the AQA, the entire GCSE Oxford list of vocab, so you can learn module by module with the foundation and the higher. So you can access that on my website as well in the Quizlet section. Also, the vocab is not everything. You will need to revise some grammar, and for some grammar, you definitely can use Conjugamus. It's one of my favorite websites. You can look at the revision of particularly a tense, then you can do a graded practice, and then you can start doing the answers. So you've got to write the actual answer for them, and if you don't know the answer, you can always look it up. So il, police, ent. That's a great way to check. Unfortunately, sometimes those verbs are quite difficult and they are not easy verbs, so you can also show and choose the verbs that you want to be in the settings. Okay, so you can also select from the verbs that you want to have. So sometimes you can make it a little bit easier for yourself. You don't need to have a log on, it's free and it's great. So do use that. I also use Duolingo, particularly with my students, to do this, and I assign them as a teacher some tasks, but you can also do that manually. But it's a little bit more complicated if you haven't done any Duolingo before. In order to do some revisions, you need to have an account when you've unlocked the skills necessary. So, in other words, to recap, know the course requirements, know how to close your gaps, make a list of gray areas that you think could be coming up, revise with the results that you have within your school, and also I would say perhaps in there, talk to your teacher. They can give you some great tips about this. So I hope this video was useful, and I shall speak to you soon. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel that those videos are useful to you. Leave some comments as well if you'd like to have different content.